tires just barely touching the ground. Let's see how high this is off the ground. I am 6'3", and that is my shoulder. That's the tire. I'll get my measuring tape and measure this out. We don't have any binding issues. We're not coming into contact with the frame, with the steering. Granted, I'm not steering the axle, so we might run into an issue with hitting the radiator up there. We'll see. I only had 4 inches of shock shaft showing on the fronts, so we can always play with that a little bit. Here's the lower links at full bump. The engine, everything's sitting where it should. The rear end, we don't have any contact with anything. I have my tranny coolers, engine oil cooler. We have our ARB pump for the air lockers that are in these from the factory. Here's my oil filter. Probably might have to move that because I'm thinking that's gonna end up hitting a rock. And then this, I need to make some sort of belly pan-ish for it so we can not worry about running into any of the links and get stuck up on something, but that's for another day. Yeah, I got some wires cut. I have to redo a lot of stuff that I initially put in before we started running everything and getting it all situated. It takes a little bit, that last 10%, but it is sitting pretty high, but we'll see what the wheels are sitting at. Oh, the wind's blowing pretty good. And it does not want to cooperate with me right now. That bottom lug is sitting right at 5 feet. These do have 20 psi in them. But again, shafts here from ORI were showing 18.5 inches, so there's still a little bit more in the shaft for flex, but we are making contact, so we are going to have to do some trimming here. But to put the rear steer axle in, I'm going to have to do some trimming anyways, because originally we weren't going to run a rear steer, but since I got a killer deal on these from a guy that follows my page, we are going to put a rear steer. And this, I mean, it's pretty flexed out. I don't even think you'd be able to drive over anything like this. I mean, maybe, possibly we would. I might have to do something with my steering, my hydro assist steering. I have all this extra here that I was thinking was going to come in handy for dropout and everything, but I think it's going to end up getting chewed up on something. But I can always shorten those. But here's the front one. We are exactly at 20 inches on the front. So the front is flexed out. That's as far down as that's going to drop. So apparently to get any more, we're going to have to do some different, something different if we want some more travel. But this is pretty, kind of a lot of travel. Like I said, steering this, turning the tire to the driver, I don't think we're going to make any contact. But if this was turning passenger, I think we would make contact. I don't want to walk underneath it because, again, I did just buy this forklift for $330 off of GovPlanet, and it had a locked up brake and no batteries in it. And I just put some Walmart batteries in it, and it works pretty good. But I don't trust standing underneath it. But I think if we were to steer this thing passenger, I think we might make contact with some stuff up there, but we'll see. The exhaust is out of the way. Little shorty exhaust. I figured we would have enough room to do something else with the exhaust, but really there isn't any place to go with it. It's pretty tight. And then I got wires and I've got all kinds of stuff running under here that needs to be tidied up a little better. I got some sheathing that I'm going to run all this stuff through that'll kind of help with little scrapes. But it is pretty flexed out right here. Yesterday's video I was a little more excited. This is the first time I've done anything on this vehicle this summer. Been so busy. But it definitely is pretty crazy looking. I mean, from this view it probably doesn't look like it. Just kind of looks like something sitting on the side of a hill. But when you see that those are a 46-inch tall tire, and we can measure them, I mean, let's see here. Okay, well, I guess they're 45, but military classifies them as a 46. But then everybody's tire manufacturers are all kind of, nothing really measures a true diameter. My hood's not shut, but I'm thinking I got a little bit of chassis flex. Obviously, we're gonna have to put some cross members in here to get it really nice and stiff. But as far as stuff being flexed out, I mean, let's go get my degree thing and find out where we're at. So we're at 51.7 degrees. .52. I guess it really depends on where it's sitting at on the axle. See if we have a really nice flat spot here. 58 degrees is on that knuckle. That's about the flattest thing on this thing. Go right here next to the drain plug. We're at 50. So I mean, there's a little bit of variance. Go on the bottom of this steering, we're at 52.5. And the rear axle, we can go measure, but it's probably going to be at close to 0. Oh, well, I guess my welding skills aren't that great, but we're at 0.5, so I'm not 100% level. Then again, that could just be the way I have it sitting on here. 0.2, so we're almost level. Well, that's today's progress. Like I said, it's pretty intimidating looking when you're standing underneath it. I'm 6'3" and I can almost stand under the underside of it. I take some pictures and update the Instagram.